In the quiet village of Alamo, where the wind whispered through palm trees and elders spoke in proverbs, there lived a boy whose name people rarely called with kindness. His name was Nkemakolam. From the day he was born, his life carried a shadow. His mother died the very night he came into this world. His father followed not long after, taken by a sickness no one could explain. And so, the villagers began to talk. Not loudly. Not openly. But enough for the boy to grow up hearing it in fragments. Something is not right about that child. He came with misfortune. And just like that, before he could even understand life, life had already judged him. Nkemakolam grew up not with love, but with distance. Children avoided him, not because they understood why, but because they were told to. Women kept their doors half closed when he passed. Men spoke around him, never to him. He survived by doing small tasks, fetching water, carrying firewood, sweeping compounds. Not because he was welcomed, but because he was useful. And even then, he was never paid with kindness. One afternoon, under the hot village sun, a group of boys sat together eating. Nkemakolam stood a few steps away. Watching. Quiet. Hungry. He did not ask for food. He had learned long ago that asking often led to silence, or worse. One of the boys noticed him and laughed. Soon, others joined. Voices rose. Fingers pointed. But Nkemakolam said nothing. He simply stood there, until the laughter faded into the air. That day, something inside him shifted. Not anger. Not yet. But a quiet realization. That he was alone. In that entire village, there was only one person who saw him differently. An old woman named Mama. She was not rich. She was not powerful. But she had something the others lacked, a heart that still listened. She would call him in sometimes. Give him food. Speak to him gently. She called him my son. And for the first time in his life, Nkemakolam felt like he belonged somewhere. But life, as it had always done with him, did not let that last. One night, the sky grew heavy with rain. Clouds covered the moon, and thunder roared across the land. Mama fell ill. Her breathing grew weak. Her voice trembled. Nkemakolam panicked. He ran from house to house, knocking, calling for help. But doors remained closed. Some pretended not to hear. Others simply refused. Fear had already built a wall around him. And no one was willing to cross it. By morning, Mama was gone. The small hut felt empty. The silence was louder than anything he had ever known. Nkemakolam sat there, staring at the stillness, realizing that the only person who ever cared for him was no longer there. And that night, for the first time, he cried not just from pain, but from understanding. There was nothing left for him in Alamo. After her burial, Nkemakolam walked. Not toward the village center, but toward the forest. A place people avoided. A place filled with stories, warnings, and fear. But he was no longer afraid of fear. Standing among the tall trees, surrounded by silence, he spoke. Not to anyone in particular, but to the world itself. If no one will see me, then I will become someone they cannot ignore. The wind moved. The leaves whispered. And in that quiet moment, something changed. Not visibly. Not loudly. But deeply. The next morning, Nkemakolam left Alamo. No farewell. No one stopped him. He walked with nothing but his thoughts, and a determination that had finally found its voice. Days later, he arrived in the city. A different world entirely. Noise replaced silence. Speed replaced stillness. And people, too many to count. But unlike the village, the city did not care where you came from, only where you were going. At first, life was not easy. He struggled. He worked. He learned. He observed. While others complained, he paid attention. While others rushed, he studied. He began to understand something powerful. Opportunity does not announce itself. It hides in plain sight. Years passed. Slowly, steadily, Nkemakolam began to rise. Small steps turned into bigger ones. Connections formed. Decisions sharpened. And the boy who once stood alone in silence became a man people listened to. Success followed. Not suddenly, but surely. He built. He expanded. He grew. And with time, his name began to carry weight. Respect. Influence. Power. But even as the city embraced him, he never forgot Alamo. He never forgot the silence. The rejection. The pain. One day, without announcement, he returned. The sound of engines filled the village. Dust rose as vehicles entered the familiar paths. Villagers gathered. Curious. Confused. Then they saw him. Nkemakolam. Not the boy they remembered, but a man transformed. His presence alone spoke louder than words. The same people who once turned away now stood still, watching, whispering, wondering. Even the elders took notice. Respect replaced doubt. Silence replaced judgment. But Nkemakolam did not return for revenge. He returned for something greater. He began to build. Structures rose where emptiness once lived. Children found opportunities that never existed before. The hungry were fed. The forgotten were remembered. He gave the village something it never gave him: hope. And in doing so, he became more than successful. He became a legacy. From a boy no one wanted, to a man no one could ignore. And from that day forward, the name Nkemakolam was never spoken with mockery again. Only with respect. Only with honor. Only with the quiet understanding that sometimes the ones you overlook today are the ones the world will remember tomorrow. Lesson: never judge someone by their beginning. Pain can shape strength, and rejection can build greatness. Caution: be careful how you treat people when they have nothing, because one day, they may rise to a place where your respect is no longer optional.